Hi there, welcome back in. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here today. Welcome to Musicalina, where I talk about all things music. Today, I will discuss my top 5 favorite drummers. The first drummer I have on my list is Tommy Lee. Tommy Lee was born October 3rd, 1962 in Athens, Greece. He has a younger sister, Athena, who is also a drummer. Tommy got his first drum kit as a teenager and dropped out of high school so that he could pursue a career in drumming. He was with an LA club band called Sweet 19, and they were regulars on the Sunset Strip club circuit. So Tommy Lee met bassist Nikki Sixx while playing on that circuit. Nikki Sixx played in a band called Sister, and then eventually in a band called London. And when London broke up in 1981, Tommy and Nikki decided to form their own band, which became Motley Crue. I would say over the years, I was more of a casual Motley Crue fan. I was never that hardcore into them. I did like most of the songs that I heard. I remember seeing their videos on MTV when I was a little kid, and their videos were pretty racy, and I was just kind of like, what the hell is this? I thought it was silly, but I liked the songs. The songs were catchy. I do think that Dr. Feelgood is one of the best 80s rock albums out there. And I do think that album in particular really showcases the strength of Tommy Lee's drumming. Tommy Lee is definitely a very exciting drummer. During live shows, he would play his drums while his drum kit was spinning or revolving or levitating up in the air. He's definitely one of the best rock drummers, and he's, I think, the best rock drummer of that era of the 80s. Okay, so next on my list is Keith Moon. Keith Moon was born August 23rd, 1946 in Wembley and died September 7th, 1978 in London. Keith Moon is undoubtedly one of the most, if not the most, exciting drummers of all time. He is also one of the first drummers to use double bass drums in his drum kit. Keith Moon was described as a hyperactive child, and that is his drumming style as well, hyperactive. Mr. Moon joined The Who in April of 1964 at the age of 17. And when Ringo Starr once asked him how he came to join the band, Keith Moon replied that he's just been filling in for the past 15 years. Early criticisms of Moon's playing was that he was not able to keep time and that his drumming was disorganized. I would say his drumming is chaotic. But I think, a good chaos. It really defined The Who's sound. I don't think that it hindered it. Mr. Moon also hated drum solos, and he refused to play them in concert. Next on my list, Dave Grohl. Did I even mention that Keith Moon played it for The Who? But everybody knows that, right? It's not like anybody watching doesn't know that. So, anyway. Dave Grohl. Dave Grohl was born on January 14th, 1969 in Warren, Ohio. He was the drummer for, obviously, Nirvana, and he also now sings and plays guitar for the Foo Fighters. Grohl never took drumming lessons and instead learned drums listening to Rush and punk rock bands. He was playing drums in a band called Scream when they disbanded in the middle of their tour, and he was invited by Chris Novoselic and Kurt Cobain to audition for Nirvana in 1990 in Seattle. I really like the Foo Fighters, but it kind of sucks that we don't really get to hear Grohl play drums anymore, because he really was and is still one of the best. It kind of sucks that we only have a few albums with him with Nirvana, but nonetheless, I do think that Dave Grohl is one of the best, if not the best, drummers in the 90s. Next up is Matt Sorum. Matt Sorum was born November 19th, 1960 in California. He has played in bands like The Cult, Velvet Revolver, and of course, Guns N' Roses. He also was the drummer in Tori Amos's first metal band, Why Can't Tori Read? I did look up some of their songs on YouTube, and they're actually not that bad. I mean, it's just like typical 80s rock. With Tori fronting, she looks like Tawny Katane. I don't know if anybody out there knows who Tawny Katane is. She was in some Whitesnake videos. Go check those out. But it's crazy because Tori really went in a completely different direction after that band. I guess they just never took off. I'm not really sure why, but anyway. Matt Sorum replaced Steve Adler in 1990. Apparently Steven Adler was having some serious drug issues and was fired. I've heard a lot of people say that they prefer Steven Adler. I actually prefer Matt Sorum. Based on the albums, I've never seen either of these drummers live, but based on the albums, I think the drumming is more powerful and more demanding on the Illusion albums than it is on Appetite for Destruction. I really love Sorum's work on the songs Estranged, You Could Be Mine, Right Next Door to Hell, and Coma. So I find it kind of interesting that Axl Rose was able to mend fences with Slash, but not with Matt Sorum, because Matt Sorum was not invited back onto their reunion tour. Apparently Sorum, upon finding out that Axl Rose was going to be firing everybody, and he did fire Matt Sorum back in 90, whatever. It was after the Spaghetti incident was released. So Axl Rose was firing everybody from the band and was going to be replacing everyone with other players. And Matt Sorum apparently kind of went off on Axl about this and was like, how are you going to have Guns N' Roses without Duff, without Slash? Like, what are you thinking? And so I guess Sorum has never been forgiven. I don't really know the connections between him and other band members. I don't think that Sorum was wrong in that argument. Getting rid of the core members like that and replacing them with other people. I mean, I listened to Chinese Democracy. I gave it a chance. It's not a terrible album, but it really didn't do anything to shake the world, and it didn't really sound, I mean, it didn't even come close to Appetite or to the Illusion albums, because you were missing these key components, these other members. Sorum released a book in 2020 called Double Talk and Jive, his life with the various bands that he's played in. I think I'm going to check that out, actually. So if I read it, I will let you guys know if it's worth reading or not. And the final drummer on my list, who I consider to be the greatest drummer of all time, and who you probably consider the greatest drummer of all time. Do I even need to say his name? John Bonham was born May 31st, 1948 in England and died on September 25th, 1980. The Beast never took drumming lessons and played in various bands before joining Led Zeppelin in 1968. Unlike Mr. Moon, John Bonham did like drum solos. He has a song called Moby Dick, which is one long drum solo, which he would play live. Bonham also used to incorporate the gong and congas into concerts as well. After his death, Led Zeppelin disbanded because they all knew that there simply was no Led Zeppelin without John Bonham. There was just no way that they could go on. John Bonham's son, Jason Bonham, is also a drummer, as you probably know. He's played in bands like UFO and Foreigner, and he also had his own band called Bonham. He has played with all kinds of artists, including members of Led Zeppelin. And I want to mention the Heart version of Stairway to Heaven. They performed this at the Kennedy Center in 2012 with Jason Bonham on drums. It is, I dare say, better than Plant's version. Ann Wilson is by far one of the greatest vocalists of all time, And oh my God, what they do with that song. The first time I heard it, I was completely just speechless. It's on YouTube. Go find that. Go find that on YouTube. So anyway, that's it. That's my list. Those are my favorite drummers. Thanks for being here today, and I will see you very soon. Take care.